Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to preface this video by saying that this is a Team Jeremiah safe space. We all know that he's the better brother of the two, and this is a very ongoing feud, especially on TikTok and Instagram right now, but it's a safe place for all of you guys. We are Team Conrad around here. We don't fuck with that at all. He's a man-child at best. But today we are making a Jeremiah staple, and we are making an iteration of the dark chocolate raspberry coulis.
Belly, cacao is the bean. It's what chocolate is made of.
With the mirror glaze. Obviously, being Team Conrad, we don't give Jeremiah what he wants, so we're gonna do that in a cupcake form today. Also, I just don't believe in my skills enough to make a tiered cake today, but it's still gonna be chocolatey, raspberry, no mirror glaze, and we're gonna have fun. Going to the grocery store on a Sunday was definitely a choice. Hot ugly, you know what I mean? Not a real chef. But first we need a couple of ingredients to make this happen. So I'm gonna switch it over to Pass Me and take you guys to the grocery store with me. Going to the grocery store on a Sunday was definitely a choice. I got very overstimulated, so if those clips were absolutely trash, we're not going to speak of it. Anyways, off camera, I went ahead and already mixed together my dry ingredients for the cupcakes itself. I'll put all of the ingredients that I used over on the side, either side, I don't really know which one yet, but I went ahead and already did that so I didn't have to be shuffling for you guys. But to finish off these cupcakes, we have to add a few more ingredients. Starting off with 2 eggs. And then we're gonna add a half a cup of plain yogurt. I'm using Greek yogurt. The recipe didn't specify, and I already had it on hand, so that's what I'm gonna use. And then we're gonna use 1/3 a cup of coffee, which I also brewed off camera. This is just going to make the chocolatey notes more chocolatey instead of using water. If you don't have coffee, you can use water, but this will just give it a little bit more of a richer flavor, as Jeremiah would probably prefer. All right, and then with that all set, we're gonna go ahead and mix. Lastly, for our mix, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and also a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then you're obviously going to go ahead and just mix that in real fast. I've been planning this video for a while, and I actually was going to make the cinnamon coffee cake muffins that they have not only in this last season, but also I'm pretty sure it shows up a bunch of times throughout the season. But then when I watched the most recent episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty, I had to abandon that idea and do this because I thought it would be a little bit more funny, and it also just sounded a little bit better to me. I forgot to preface that in this video I'll probably be spoiling a little bit, mostly probably the TV show. So if you aren't up to date with the latest episode of season 3, I think it's episode 5, then maybe come back and watch this once you're caught up. But I probably won't be spoiling from the book's point of view as much, just because I read them a long time ago and I don't remember them. I also didn't rate them very highly, so therefore that is why I just could not tell you what happens in them. Anyways, now we have our batter. This is what it looks like. We are going to preheat our oven to 350, which I've already done. And also off camera, I went ahead and already lined our cupcake sheets. This recipe should make about 12. And we're gonna go ahead and fill them. cake batter in the tins. We are going to put it in the oven again at 350 for about 18 minutes. Okay, now that we have taken these out of the oven and did a toothpick test, we're gonna sit them to the side to completely cool because we're gonna be doing a raspberry filling as well as raspberry frosting. So we're gonna make the frosting while we wait for these. Off camera, I crushed up some freeze-dried raspberries. So we're just gonna put those in there. Then you're gonna do a cup of unsalted butter, which is just 2 regular sticks, and make sure that they are at room temperature. Mine have been sitting out for a couple of hours now. Oh, I forgot my apron. Let me put that back on. I'm not a real chef. Okay, much better. Now we are gonna do 3 cups of powdered sugar. That's not quite a 1/3 cup, but we're gonna put the rest of this in there and say it made 3 cups. This is not a professional baking show, so I mean. All right, and then we're gonna put it in a mixer. I'm using my trusty dusty KitchenAid, but you could do a hand mixer, whatever you want. We're gonna start creaming this on low, but then as it starts to incorporate the butter and the sugar, you can make your way up to high, and we're gonna do that for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we can finish our frosting. All right, now that all the raspberries and the sugar and the butter are together, this is what it's looking like. So to make it a actual frosting, we are gonna do some milk and some vanilla for flavor. So we're gonna just do 2 tablespoons of milk or cream, whichever you prefer, and then just a dash of vanilla. And then we're gonna go ahead and mix this again. Okay, now that our frosting is done, you can set it to the side. I put mine in the fridge, you don't have to. And we're gonna grab some raspberry preserves. You can make your own. I opted not to do that because that's really hard, but we're gonna be filling the cupcakes. So with the 1 butter knife, you're just gonna cut not all the way through, so just kind of feel your way. It might be better with a sharper knife, actually. And I'm gonna use a bowl to scoop it, but you're gonna want to save that little top. And then with another knife, or whatever you want, you're gonna put a little bit of the raspberry in there. That's kind of a lot. With that top you saved, you're just gonna put it right back on there. Okay, now that we've done all the baking and we're just kind of doing the fun part now, I want to know what you guys think of the series as a whole, whether it's the books if you've read them, just the TV show, because although I know that it's very cringe and I like to kind of make fun of it sometimes, I honestly really look forward to the new episodes every Wednesday night. But with that being said, I did not enjoy the books at all. I read and listened to them because I wanted to listen to the actual characters read them. So if you didn't know, Lola Tung and Chris Briney actually narrate the audiobooks. And so I thought that it would be more fun. And the books just, they're not good. I think it's a mixture of me not being really interested in YA and the books themselves just not being the best, I guess. I think overall the whole show is just, it's really fun. It gives the vibes that it's supposed to give of this like endless summer. Obviously the soundtrack is always really good in these seasons. And I think a big part of the success of the show, not just being with the discourse around it on social media. I think a big part of the success of this show is how involved Jenny Han is. Actually, the most recent episode, she was the director on it, and it was really good. You could tell that it was a different director on there, but I think it still worked for the episode she was doing. But I just think it's fun, and obviously, apart from all the play about Team Jeremiah and Team Conrad or Team Belly, there's also kind of like these themes, mostly with the first season when Susanna has cancer and Belly is trying to like find herself during this time, and so are the boys obviously, but I think the first season did a good job of that. I feel like we've kind of lost that plot by now. There are a few times where they kind of jump back on that, but a little bit less. I also want to know down below, if you're Team Jeremiah, why? Like, I actually want to know, because on TikTok, people say they're Team Jeremiah, but they'll never say why. I just want to know why.
He's the sexier one.
No, he's not. I think he's like hot ugly, you know what I mean? He's so attractive that, like, he's so conventionally attractive that, like, he's ugly. Okay, last step is to frost these, and you can pipe them if you want. I opted out of making more dishes, so I'm just going to put them on with this little cake scraper. I don't know. But this is the last step, like I said, to making Jeremiah's dream wedding cupcakes, I guess. Like I said already 100 times, I don't think that the book is the best. I don't think that the series is the best either. Obviously, like, these are all brand new actors, and so they just aren't the greatest, but I think that's kind of what makes it a little bit charming, I guess. But with that being said, I'm obviously gonna keep watching them. I do recommend reading them if you really love the show. I also recommend, like I said, listening to it, because the actors actually read the audiobook for you, and it's like extra immersive. So, and I know we have had a good time picking on Jeremiah today, but I feel like we should also pick on Belly, because she is kind of also a horrible character in this season. She gets mad at Jeremiah for cheating on her in Cabo and makes it this whole deal, and then her brother gets in a car accident. She realizes that, like, I don't know, life is fleeting, and he asks her to marry him, and she says yes and takes back everything that she said to him. I just think that Belly is also not the greatest character this season. She is kind of going backwards in her character progression, I guess. And I guess that kind of leads me to talking about Conrad, even though I've been alluding to him the whole time. Him as a character, we have seen drastically grow between the last season and this season. Obviously, besides the obvious, he went to college, he's post-grad now, he's in med school, he is also going to therapy. I think Conrad as a person, even though we haven't seen it much in the show itself, it's still kind of like there in the background. And I do wish that they would focus a little bit more on that, because I feel like it just highlights even more of why Conrad is obviously the only choice for Belly. But with that being said, I think that at this rate, Belly has done so much damage for herself, for literally everyone. I think, in my opinion, if this is real life, she should break up with Jeremiah, not get with Conrad, because if I were Conrad, especially in the book, and it hasn't happened in the show just yet, but it will happen, she starts to say some crazy shit to Conrad, and I just wouldn't. I know he's like indefinitely in love with her, but at that point, she's just kind of ruined. She's burned all bridges at this point. I feel like if my mom didn't want to go to my wedding, that would 100% make me not want to have a wedding. Like, I also haven't even touched on my opinions of Taylor and Steven. That whole thing is crazy to me too. I wasn't really on the Taylor and Steven hype train, but this season when they're kind of like going back and forth and Taylor's kind of like realizing what Steven is to her, now I'm on board. And now that I'm on board, obviously in the latest episode they are alluding to him getting with his coworker, and so now I'm sad. I don't like Taylor as a character or as an actor. I think that the girl who does it, I think she's pretty and I think she's cool, but I don't think she's a great actor. It was giving very like Gen Z, but trying to be Gen, like, I don't know, like, I know that that's probably in her script, but she also like does things that I'm like, girl. All right, and now the cupcakes are complete. They are not the prettiest because I opted out of a piping bag, but I feel like they're fit for Jeremiah. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of ugly, but I do feel like they're gonna taste good. So this is the portion where we do a taste test, obviously. All right.
Mmm. Mmm.
It's really good, as Jeremiah would say.
The whole flavor profile depends on the bitterness of the dark chocolate and the sweet tartness of the raspberry.
It is really good. I would say don't bake them for 18 minutes. Although the recipe said to bake them for 18 minutes, they're a little dry. You get in the filling?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, well, that concludes our baking episode today. If you want to try these out for yourself, I'll leave the link to the recipe down below. Again, like I said earlier, I would love to know what team you are and why, so leave it down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed today's video. See you guys in the next one. Bye.